Welcome, creeps. You're listening to the Umbra Tapes, where we dive into unsolved mysteries, disturbing cases, and the downright weird. I'm Gabby.
And I'm Leah. Thanks for creeping in.
Before we get into tonight's episode, we wanted to talk about a pretty rad artist for our small business highlight. One of our favorite things about horror is that it doesn't just live in movies or old abandoned places. It inevitably ends up in paintings, music, and literature. This week, we wanted to highlight an artist named Missy DaVinci. Missy creates hand-painted portraits centered around horror icons.
If you're somebody who likes classic slashers, cult horror, or having something unique hanging on your wall that doesn't come from a department store, definitely go check her work out. She's also open for custom commissions, so if there's a specific horror character, creature, original concept, or honestly anything weird and spooky you've been wanting to turn into art, reach out to her. If you're not in a place to commission something right now, engagement goes a long way for small artists. Following, liking, commenting, sharing posts, it genuinely helps more than people realize. Go show Missy DaVinci some love and support independent artists like her. You can contact Missy through the link in the description below.
There was a time in American history when architecture was considered a form of treatment. Not metaphorically, literally. Buildings were designed with a belief that structure, light, airflow, and symmetry could influence illness the same way medicine might. This belief would shape an entire generation of hospitals across the United States. The idea wasn't just to contain patients, it was to heal them through the environment. Long corridors were not accidental, they were intentional. Built to maximize sunlight and ventilation, wings were staggered so that air could circulate freely. Grounds were landscaped so patients could see nature from within the building. Everything had a purpose. Everything was measured. Everything was meant to restore balance.
That's actually so crazy though. Like, I feel like I knew that, but I didn't know that. And I feel like it's also a scam because if you're in a hospital, like I'm guess this is a mental asylum that we're talking about.
Today we are talking about we're talking about the Richardson Olmsted Campus and the Perrysburg Asylum.
Okay, yes.
What the locals call it, but it is actually known as J&N Memorial Hospital.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like with the hospital anyways, like that would definitely probably help, just having the fresh air and the light, but I don't know.
This specific brand of hospital was intentionally built this way because they believed that air and nature could actually help the mental disease.
I think it would.
I would imagine it would too.
For sure.
This model of hospital like hits so much closer to home for me because I feel like if this belief was in existence when my grandmother was institutionalized, it would have helped immensely.
Yeah, I think so too. And one of the things I think that would have helped, but even when you're just in place, I feel like I'm like so on the fence about those types of places in general because I feel like a lot of people are guinea pigged there and they just try things, which nature is wonderful and I'm hopeful that that's something that would help, but the other stuff they're doing is almost like contradicting that help. So it's just, I don't know.
This vision had a name. It's actually called the Kirkbride Plan. Dr. Thomas Kirkbride was a pioneering 19th century American psychiatrist and advocate for the mentally ill. He is widely considered one of the most influential figures in history of mental health treatment. His revolutionary idea was simple, but radical for its time. That architecture itself could affect patient recovery. In 1840, Kirkbride became the first superintendent of the Pennsylvania Hospital for the Insane in Philadelphia. It was there that he developed a highly specific, standardized architectural blueprint for asylum design that would come to be known as the Kirkbride Plan. This man was so ahead of his time.
Yeah. Oh my God. Could you imagine if we had somebody like that today and they just let him have like free reign and in a positive way like
Absolutely.
That? Like that would just be so like life-changing for so many people, including myself.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, granted, I don't think we're at the level where we need to be institutionalized, but I think a little bit of like rest and respite would be beneficial to everybody, even if it is just for like a 2-night getaway in a place like this, I think would be very nice. But, you know, oftentimes, even if he was alive today, things would get in the way. And that is the story that is about to be told.
Permits and hoopla. People not believing in that. The right way to do things.
It does seem very like holistic, like hippie-ish. So I guess I get why people would be
Western medicine is like shunning that type of thing. Yeah.
By the 1860s, the truth about the treatment of the insane poor was being exposed. People both sick and simply unwanted were being locked away in prisons and so-called poorhouses. These institutions became dumping grounds for the destitute. Orphans, the elderly, physically disabled individuals, people with substance abuse issues, and those with severely untreated mental illnesses. Conditions were horrific. Patients were violently restrained, sometimes in cribs or boxes so small they could barely lie down. Overcrowding was extreme. People were left in their own waste, creating a breeding ground for illness and vermin. Children and adults were housed together, leading to severe neglect and exploitation.
Oh my God. All of that just makes my stomach churn.
Yes.
It really does. And this is, I mean, it's not off topic, but the asylum in the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum that I went and visited, they have so many of these types of stories where just way overcrowding and people, like you said, they're dumping grounds. Like they're just throwing people in these places just because it's almost like witch. You told me no and you're my wife and I'm your husband and I don't like that. You're crazy. I'm throwing you in a hospital. It's nuts.
It harkens back to like American Horror Story Asylum.
Yeah.
When he's like, I don't know what's wrong with my wife. She just like doesn't connect with our baby. And it's like
postpartum depression.
Your wife has postpartum depression. Like she's not crazy.
I'm so thankful these days though that mental health has become, I mean, I feel like it's like way over, I don't even know how to explain it, but I think people like way overuse it as an excuse for everything. But I also think that it's better that we know so much more about it too. So
yeah, that it's like popularized and more accepted and it is normalized.
I think it's,
you know what's wild is when I first got like diagnosed with general anxiety, I was prescribed medication. I can't.
Lexapro probably?
No, I never went that hard.
Oh, good.
It was like a Benadryl. It was hydroxyzine or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
antihistamine.
Yes. Just put me to sleep. Didn't help the anxiety.
No. See, and
but I'm glad that they took that minor step before they did.
Here's some benzos.
Yeah. Man,
some hardcore drug. I don't know.
Might have benefited me slightly at the time.
Right. Oh my gosh.
One of these iconic poorhouses that we have actually been to is Rolling Hills Asylum. Like that's that's how that started as a poorhouse. So I would imagine that a lot of those patients that were in Rolling Hills Asylum when it was a poorhouse, I'm assuming they actually were moved to Buffalo Psych.
Oh, probably. Yeah. It's not very far. And Buffalo Psych was way
like bigger, a way grander institution and obviously had this awesome plan going on at the time. So that was just a cool little snippet of info that I liked. By 1870, Buffalo was one of the fastest growing cities in the United States. With that growth came responsibility. Specifically, the need for a humane facility for those who had been abandoned by society. Buffalo made a decision. They wanted to do it differently. They wanted to build a facility rooted in care rather than containment, something that aligned with the Kirkbride philosophy. Frederick Law Olmsted, already known for designing Buffalo Delaware Park, was brought into the project due to his expertise in landscape architecture and human-centered design. But one more architect was needed. Henry Hobson Richardson, born in Louisiana, educated in Paris at one of the most prestigious architecture schools in the world. Richardson brought European influence back to the United States. His style, later known as Richardson Romanesque, used heavy stone masonry, rounded arches, symmetry, and monumental towers. His masterpiece was Trinity Church in Boston, but the Buffalo State Asylum would be his second. Together, these three names, Kirkbride, Olmsted, and Richardson, formed a kind of architectural trinity, and they were about to build one of the most ambitious psychiatric institutions in American history. So, fun fact about Olmsted, I'm sure like you know the name because we have signs littered all throughout Buffalo for like the parks that he designed. He actually designed the Buffalo Zoo, and the Buffalo Zoo is actually one of the 6 oldest zoos in the country that still functions to this day.
Wow.
Yeah, and when it was first opened, it was like just a paddock for deer wandering into the city.
Oh.
And they just wanted to like keep them safe and keep them away from like
so they
people.
so it was like a little park type of thing, just for deer, and like Central Park, but in Buffalo kind of.
Essentially, yeah. And Olmsted had designed and whatever the layout of it.
Wow, that's neat. I did not know that. Cool.
Yeah,
and so is I mean, the Richardson Towers are beautiful. I mean,
seriously,
top tier to this day, are just gorgeous.
It literally looks like we have a Romanian castle smack in the middle of Buffalo.
And it's so nice. And I mean, we recently have been there because they just remodeled it all. Well, not all of it. I shouldn't say that. They are in the process of remodeling, and it's currently a hotel, and you can visit it. But I went in there for the first time ever. I've never been in there. It's the first time I've ever been in there. And they did amazing work.
Oh my God, I know.
And just what they're doing by keeping like the old building still intact, but adding on to like it to modernize it a little bit while still keeping all the old architecture and stone walls and things like that. It's just, they did such a great job.
What I'm loving about it is the fact that not only do they flourish this architecture that's there and it highlights it, but they also highlight the stories of the people who were institutionalized there.
Yes.
So they have like photographs of artifacts that were found in the institution, or if it was a family member that you had that resided in there, they would take a photograph of it and they would write this story about your loved one and what they went through and the reason why they were there. So they're really just capturing the beauty of what's there, and they're making something that was traumatic and awful beautiful.
And paying homage to like the people that went through these tragedies and letting their stories be known so they're not forgotten.
Yes, it makes me very proud. In June 1871, construction began. It would take nearly a decade before patients began moving in, and even then, only the male ward was completed. The full complex would not be finished until 1896, long after Richardson's death. He never lived to see it completed. When it was finished, the Buffalo State Asylum featured 2 180-foot towers dominating the skyline, 500,000 square feet of interior space, 42 acres of landscape ground, and was built using rough Medina sandstone. This facility was genuinely unique for the period. Within the structure, there was a bakery, a farm with livestock, a massive industrial kitchen, laundry facilities, and even its own water tower. It was designed to feel like a grand estate, not a prison, a place of healing, not containment.
I would want to live there. Like, I'm crazy. Take me here, please.
I often joke that, like, in order for me to get a break or a vacation, and I'm sure other moms joke about this too, just like, throw me in the loony bin for like, I don't know, just a week.
Just a week.
Just so I can sleep, get some rest, maybe some
little rest
drugs, you know?
Maybe some drugs. That sounds just beautiful. It really is weird. It makes you want to like go there.
Yeah.
And I wish it was, I don't know, not that I wish it was still available, but I wish that you could just see in like real life the grandeur of it, like how they did back in the day, but appreciate it now.
Right.
Before now, I feel like they didn't appreciate it because it was probably not that the architecture and anything was common, but asylums were common, and there were places
everywhere.
People didn't want to be. Like, you didn't want to be thrown in there. So
I would imagine that they didn't want to be thrown into like a nasty poorhouse, but I feel like if you were mentally ill and this plan was put forward and this beautiful facility was there, like I'm sure it seemed
good.
Like it
like
could
a rehab
legitimately help you.
Yeah.
And I could see wanting to go and getting help in this manner.
I would. Take me.
The funny thing about this building, about the Richardson complex, it was built using Medina sandstone, and this sandstone is actually super unique, and it's built structures like the Brooklyn Bridge. It's built it was used to build Buckingham Palace, and this stone comes from Medina, New York.
Okay. I was actually gonna say that, and then I was like, well, let you say, because I don't know. I was gonna ask.
Yeah, it traveled all the way from Medina, approximately 35 miles away from Buffalo, using the Erie Canal to get it there.
Using the Erie Canal. Good old Erie Canal.
Gotta love it. Another funny thing about the Richardson complex is that it was actually the direct inspiration for the hospital in the game Outlast.
Oh.
It's called like the Mount Massive Asylum in the game, and Outlast is like one of the scariest video games anybody could ever play.
I love the fact that like anything is based off of it, because we're from here. Like it's so cool.
Right.
I don't know. And I've never heard of a video game, but I like that's just so cool to me. Like that anybody would be inspired by something that we're inspired by too.
Absolutely. We wouldn't be making this.
Hard not inspired. To be. Yeah.
Another one that's loosely mirroring it, but it's more mirroring like what institutions of the time looked like. So not exactly the Richardson complex as in the video game The Evil Within. And I know you played that one.
Yes. Yeah.
So
okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
But definitely play Outlast, and we'll plug a picture of it, and it is exactly what the Richardson complex looks like.
That's neat. They didn't get in trouble for doing that?
They might have asked permission, but I'm assuming who would they ask at the time?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I was
the state.
No, I don't know. That's cool though.
Well, the Richardson complex was originally intended to house 250 patients. Instead, it eventually housed over 1,200. Kirkbride referred to this model as a special apparatus for lunacy. He believed recovery depended on individualized care, doctors knowing patients by name and understanding their conditions intimately, but the state mandated expansion to 600 beds. Kirkbride fought for it fiercely. He lost. Heartbroken, he died in 1883 before the facility was even completed. By 1881, the New York Times reported allegations of abuse within the institution. This is where it begins. An attendant named Frank P. Churchill accused workers Robert Jones and J.F. McMichael of beating patients. Even under the philosophy of moral treatment, fresh air, beauty, and humane care, violence still occurred behind closed doors. Somebody's always got to ruin it.
Dude. And of course, like, the one man that even cared about these people, that did everything, his whole life was just dedicated to doing all this for these people. And
the right way.
The right way, and that makes me so sad, because, like, why does evil have to win?
I don't know.
Just why? Just why?
It's always, like, big corporations, the institution, the state, always just wanting to take away like genius, and I don't know,
like anything that's beneficial to anybody but themselves.
Exactly. Maybe like, that's why they weren't getting their cut. I don't know. Yeah, probably.
And I could see, like, okay, to the individualized care, the knowing the patients by name, the knowing their specific problems, like that is to a T exactly what they need.
Yeah.
And then expanding it to 600 beds and eventually to over 1,200, like, what good? That's not going to do any good. It is. And then it turns it into a poorhouse. It turns it into throwing people away, because what else can you do with them?
Yeah.
Besides,
I don't know. It's like, can we...
I don't get it.
Can we build more facilities like this instead of, like, just taking the one we have and overrunning it? And
I mean, not every one of them has to be as grand as this one.
No.
I mean, this could be one for like lower end patients, or like
more higher needs patients.
Yeah. Like people that need more help, I guess, that would benefit more from this type of recovery,
the constant care.
And yes, then this day and age, I really think there's a severe lack of institutions.
Yeah, we'll get into why that is. I don't understand. There is no reason to abuse people, but you have to think about...
That makes my stomach turn.
The amount of pressure and work. Like, this is something that happens with any healthcare practice. Look at the way old folks' homes are. Look at the way, like, your standard basic emergency room is ran. You're lucky if you have a single nurse on site for the entire night. Which, they're overworked, they're underpaid, they're tired.
That is something that I understand, that these workers is terrible that they're put in those types of positions, and that the people that own these facilities or run these facilities should do 1,000 times more than they do, and not let these people be overworked and underpaid as much as they are. But I also think that you should know better. Like, you shouldn't even be in that position if you are in any sort of way thinking that that's an acceptable thing to do to somebody you're in they're in your care. Like, that's terrible.
I'm absolutely not
I don't care
justifying the fact that
happens. I get what you're saying.
I'm just saying these people were put into this position. Like, people can only take so much. Like, I'm surprised there wasn't a huge crossover between nurses and faculty being institutionalized at the institution because of what they
went through. Oh my gosh, I know. At a lot of places too, like at Trans-Allegheny, the nurses lived in that building.
Yes,
like they had their own floor, and all of the workers did pretty much. So I mean, I wouldn't want to like live there, work there, sleep there, eat there, be around these people. Like, you're at some point, something's gonna happen. Yeah. And they need to just figure that one out.
That practice is actually really common in most institutions like this. It also happens at J&M.
Richardson had
its own ward for staff, essentially.
Yeah. So. And because there probably wasn't people would move there specifically just to work at that hospital, because I mean, obviously there's houses everywhere nowadays, but back then there probably weren't as many houses as close as they were. Transportation was an issue. So it makes sense.
By the late 19th century, New York State passed laws requiring indigent psychiatric patients to be transferred from poorhouses into state hospitals. Buffalo State was already overwhelmed almost immediately. Funding didn't keep up and staffing collapsed, and the environment shifted from therapeutic sanctuary to overcrowded institution. To manage the crisis, medicine turned towards aggressive physical interventions. Now we're going to get into the types of treatment that these patients had endured. They are extremely disturbing, and I do not think this helped people at all. It seems cruel and unusual. One of the most disturbing was insulin coma therapy. Patients were injected with massive doses of insulin, inducing comas that lasted hours. It was believed this metabolic shock could reset schizophrenia. It was not effective, it was dangerous, and it was widely used. This one is the one that totally threw me off, and I've never even heard of this. I can't even imagine.
No, and I have personal experience with schizophrenia. My brother has schizophrenia, and he hasn't had this happen to him specifically, but he has been shot with medicine while being restrained because of outbursts and things like that, and never to the point where it was in a coma. And that,
were they giving him insulin or just sedatives?
No, just sedatives. But that seems extremely extreme and cruel, and
that could 100% kill you. And I did not look at death records of this or what this practice actually did to people, but the fact that they were put into coma for hours means that they very easily could have died.
Absolutely. You're shocking your body with insulin.
Yeah.
That's what the fuck?
I don't know. What the fuck? That one was the wildest one, and the one that I had never heard before. Everything else,
No, and again, it's like you're guinea pigging people because you don't, like, they could have diabetes. Like, and that immediately would cause a huge issue with
that would have killed him instantly,
yes.
I think. I don't know if the attempted treatment is worse than the intentional, like, abuse.
Yeah.
What is worse? Like, one like misguided treatment and help, or is the other just...
I think, I mean, obviously they have updated their practices since these types of things used to happen, but I still don't think a lot of things that they do help.
No, we will talk about the fact that some of these things are still done today.
Stop.
Yes. In the 1930s, Portuguese neurologist Egas Manois developed the prefrontal lobotomy. The procedure involved drilling into the skull and severing brain tissue in the frontal lobe. It was later popularized and modified by Walter Freeman into the transorbital lobotomy. This method was faster, cheaper, and far more brutal. The patient was shocked with electroconvulsive therapy to immobilize them. Then, an ice pick-like instrument was inserted through the eye socket and driven into the brain. With sweeping motions, brain tissue was severed. The goal was to reduce aggression. The result was often permanent cognitive damage, emotional flattening, and total personality loss. I don't know which one would be worse. Prefrontal is more humane, I would say. And the transorbital was the one where they literally just went through your eyeball.
Yeah, because I watched when I went to the Trans-Allegheny, once again, they had a video playing. You could sit down and watch a live, not live, but a real lobotomy. They have a video playing, like, in a room with chairs. You can sit down and watch it.
I'm going to have to find the video.
It was terrible. It was very terrible. But I don't know. I hate to be like gruesome, but it didn't look that terrible. Like, I don't know. There wasn't like blood. They weren't like, it wasn't like gruesome.
The like video that you watched, was it transorbital or prefrontal?
It was like, so they do it through the eyes, like in the corner of the eye socket right here.
I would imagine that one wouldn't be as disturbing to see unless you have that phobia with whatever going into your eyeball. Yeah. But I would imagine that one's not as bad to watch, whereas the other one seems like it was more surgical, more clinical.
Which I feel like that should have been, like, they should have been put under, first of all, absolutely, which a lot of them were not. And I still don't think that's... they had to try a lot of different things. I understand that, because you never know until you try, and unfortunately it was done on real human beings, which is absolutely horrendous. But we have modern medicine and we have what we have today because of these things. So in that way, I'm grateful. But other than that, I really don't think that it was necessary to do those types of things.
Actually successful. I mean, there are stories of successful lobotomies happening, but
probably 1 out of 100. Like, it's not enough.
It's not an exact science. It sounds like they're literally just like sticking a pick in there and swishing it about and just severing hoping what they sever. Yeah, I mean, done to a degree to this day. At this point, it's being done at like your neurologist office, and it is a more surgical, more clinical procedure. And it obviously is more direct because they have like MRI machines and they have ways
they're not guessing and hoping and praying that this works.
It's called deep brain stimulation. Thin wire electrodes are inserted into tiny brain areas to disrupt nerve pathways that involve action, motivation, and reward processing. Small electrical currents disrupt the amount of reward a person assigns to their repetitive, compulsive actions.
You would think by now.
I think maybe we've come far enough to know.
Yeah, if it's going to help or not.
Of it, yeah.
I can't say that and I've been to neurologists many times. None of them have ever steered me wrong to the point where I felt like they were trying to harm me or anything like that. So I would think if they're doing these things to their patients in a controlled setting and they know exactly what they're doing and what's the outcome, the patient is also aware of the same. They have to probably sign all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think even back in the 1800s, most doctors did just want to help. Like, I'm pretty sure the Hippocratic Oath dates back probably to the 1700s. I don't know exactly, but I'm sure it came about when doctors were
when the introduction of Western medicine was. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I don't believe that any of these things done were actually done to harm. I cannot,
unless you were, just like a sick, sadistic person, like in the
American Horror
asylum.
Story?
Yeah, like you never know though, because that would be the perfect breeding grounds for somebody like that.
I agree.
Though, like, oh, I'm just doing it to help. And then there was no, I don't know, there might have been repercussions, but at the same time, like, where is the line, like, between, I just tried to help, like, medical, what is it called, like, medical neglect, medical negligence, where
medical malpractice,
malpractice, something like that, where they're like intentionally doing these things, but they just say, but oops. Oops, I was trying to help and it didn't work.
Lots of cases. I mean, true crime cases of like killer nurses.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
They get their jollies off.
Exactly. And this type of thing, and that's like intentionally, you're obviously intentionally doing it, but you don't know what's going to happen. And like,
you don't know what's in somebody's heart.
I don't have the stomach for it. You have to have the stomach for something like that.
I mean, you have to have the stomach to be a standardized nurse. I mean, I couldn't do it.
Never.
Like, one of our best friends is a nurse, and I don't know how she does it.
No, and we've heard stories.
Horror
we've heard stories. That poor baby. I don't know how she does it ever. No.
I mean, it's like,
you have to be that type of person
out there. They do get their jollies off, like harming patients and then being able to be the savior of it.
Yeah,
like they'll go in and like do something that'll like stop your heart, just so they can be the one to
save you,
resuscitate you.
That's in American Horror Story. Was it Roanoke? There was those two nurses.
Yes,
that were like killing old people or whatever.
Yeah,
that was another one.
Here we go. Always referencing the medias. By the 1940s, electroconvulsive therapy became widespread for depression. It was often administered without sedation. Over time, it became less about treatment and more about control, a way to keep wards quiet. This is another one that is 100% still in existence to this day.
I knew that.
I did too.
They do it in very small, controlled doses, and they can raise it if need be, but from what I've read, it actually does turn out to be helpful because we are electrical beings, and they do give them in therapeutic doses to where they see positive side effects.
I would imagine that it could be beneficial.
Yeah.
My grandmother, also devastatingly mentally ill throughout her entire life. I recall when I was little, she would get ECT, and
did she?
Yes.
Oh Lord.
And she would be not a person like the next day, like
vegetable,
like in a vegetative state, but like walking around at the same time. It was very strange.
Yeah, that's not a therapeutic dose.
No,
that's absolutely more about control than it is about trying to help.
I 100% believe my grandmother was abused in a lot of these institutions. She was actually a patient at Buffalo Psych at one period in time. So
yeah,
I have lots of trauma around it.
Oh God, that makes me so sad. And I mean, I know my brother was also a patient at Buffalo Psych, but it was years and years, obviously, after your grandmother was. Mm-hmm. So I think by that point, had been changed, and things were a lot more looked upon, and they were being watched. And
I would hope so. I would hope so.
But I think back, she was going through that most of her life. I know that. And
it really peaked up around like the 70s, and then it got way worse when my grandfather passed away. And then from there on, she was literally institutionalized from like my birth on, because my grandfather died 3 months after I was born. So I never got to know like who my grandmother was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think electroshock therapy, and I'm instantly like, Return to Oz. Have you ever seen that?
Return to Oz.
It's probably one of the most traumatic children's movies. Yeah, Disney made it.
Is that the one with James Franco?
No, it's what's her name? Faruka Volk or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
From like The Craft.
Yes, yeah. I haven't seen
when she
that,
was a
but-
little girl.
Okay.
Watch it.
Ooh.
Watch it if you want to be traumatized.
I don't know. Do I know? I don't think so.
By the 1950s, the facility housed nearly 3,800 patients. What became a medical institution had become a warehouse. Even massive state funding could not sustain the system. The infrastructure collapsed under its own weight. In 1963, President John F. Kennedy signed a Community Mental Health Act. With new psychiatric medications and the changing philosophies, the goal shifted towards reintegration into society. Large institutions began to empty. Buffalo State began to quiet for the first time in decades. This
oh my gosh.
Kirkbride plan never, and I mean never, got to go to fruition. It never got to be seen.
Why though? It probably would have helped so much. I really think it would have.
Yes. And
Just
I would
how
imagine
intentional
it would still
it
be
was.
used today.
I feel like with the Kirkbride, with himself, I feel like mental illness was probably something that he genuinely wanted to help and be involved in every way. Like in every way, from the architecture to building it to being patient specific to everything. And I don't understand how that would be bad and why they wouldn't have wanted to do that. I just don't get
think
that.
They didn't not want to do it. It's just always like the system overwhelms and the state mandates. I mean, think about the surging population at the time. Like there was loads of people and
Coming into Buffalo specifically. Yeah.
And I mean, times are hard and mental illness is something.
people.
Yes, that's a
Oh
lot.
my God. And that facility is huge. But even that, I mean,
Definitely still, it should not house that many people.
well, especially it was built for 250.
Yeah.
3,800?
Like I would imagine like
Oh, they'd have beds right like me and you close. Like they'd
Absolutely.
have beds like or bunk beds plus that. Like
what's
that's
even
crazy.
wilder is that they said that like Richardson had designed these buildings specifically with like the curved walkways, you know what they look like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that they couldn't line the hallways with beds
beds.
in those
See?
areas. And I'm assuming they went right on ahead and did it anyway.
See, but that's, I mean, I feel so, I'm so sad about that because it didn't come to fruition. And even that, like he put preventative measures in place because he probably had some sort of an inkling that things like that would happen.
Were going to happen, yeah.
And I mean, if he didn't think of everything, I tell you what, that's wow.
It like happened instantaneously. So he was like, okay, we're going to build this facility. This is my idea. I got my contractors, I got my architects, I got my landscaper, and he built the facility. Not a single one of them, and I believe maybe Olmsted was the only one who actually got to see the facility come to completion. And by the time the facility was completed, it was already overrun.
Like, so they were putting people in while it was being built.
Yes.
Oh.
So I believe when it first opened, they had the central hub in the left wing.
Okay.
And then they obviously started moving people in.
Yeah.
And then they built while people lived there. So it never got to see its true plan.
To think of all the people too that it could have helped if they had stuck to the plan, stuck to the population of 250. I mean, they had livestock, they had a bakery, they had a little mini, like
their own water tower,
everything.
yeah,
Like they didn't need anything else, and they could have fixed those, not fixed, but helped those people, and then let them back, and then started over. And
in the 60s, when they were talking about like John F. Kennedy emptied all the loony bins and now everybody's just roaming free, because I guess that was like a big thing that was happening at the time, because obviously Buff Psych wasn't the only one.
Yeah, no,
that
if he signed
to.
a law, he signed a law saying about that.
Yeah,
so,
to clear them out.
Yeah.
Which I would imagine that could be a good thing, especially if they did have
people in there that didn't deserve or need to be in there.
Yeah. And they had medication now, and I guess maybe therapy, and they were trying to do things a little more like
outpatient.
Yes. Yeah. I think so often is it the case though too that a lot of women were institutionalized because we are extremely misunderstood, like with our hormones and the way our bodies react to things. And I think men just couldn't handle it, and they're like,
yeah, because and I don't know, you can look up your own facts and statistics, but I would assume men are obviously in there for more violent crimes and more violent reasonings, and women are in there for kind of the opposite. Like,
I would imagine the statistic aligns with that statement.
Yes, yeah.
In 1965, the Strozzi building was constructed nearby, a stark contrast to the Richardson design. It was a concrete, sterile, cold, and devoid of any ornamentation. By 1974, remaining patients were transferred to the new facility, and Buffalo Psychiatric Center became its new name. The original complex was left partially abandoned, with only the center portion of the building being used for administrative purposes. I'm about to pop off. Okay?
Yeah, what a waste. Ugh.
I hate this building. And I hate the visual representation and the contrast of the graying of the world.
Yeah.
Because you look at this beautiful, what looks like a Romanesque castle, and then
it is. It's so beautiful.
I mean, they built this new hospital,
you could throw
feet away from it?
You could throw a stone
away from the Richardson Towers, and it is devoid of anything.
It's a box.
Concrete box. It looks like a prison, ugly. And it's just like
nothing
of
beauty to it. It looks like they just threw it up and said, "Here you go,
here you go." Yeah, yeah. We don't care about you.
Here's a box.
Yeah, and it's like the graying of the world. I feel like this era of like, let's grayify everything. Let's use minimized shapes.
Yeah.
Let's make everything just
colors,
ugly.
No nothing.
The color of the world is literally draining before our eyes.
Yeah, no intention behind it. Just here you go.
Yeah.
Like, no care, no love, no nothing.
No. I mean, I popped off about this when we went on our little
excursion
ghost tour of Buffalo. So many of the new buildings in Buffalo, it's like this visual, stark, like breathtaking contrast between architecture of the past and now. It is.
It's just
these buildings will remain till the cities fall to the earth, and the new ones, they're just gonna be whatever. They're built out of paper and cardboard. They're ugly, and I hate them.
Yeah. They're so ugly.
I do. Look at those. You can actually see the graying of the world when you look at how McDonald's looked in the 70s,
yeah, with the play
versus
places,
the way it looks now.
Everything is like that.
The Taco Bell is now everything.
It's like
is
modernizing.
I hate it.
And we don't want it. Like our cell phones.
I hate it.
I want my flip phone with my freaking keyboard on it.
Do you remember the Juke? It was like that super skinny
where
one.
You flip it and you got the music with the phone call.
Cell phones used to be so cool.
So cool.
I feel bad for kids now.
Me too.
Everything
sucks. No Lisa Frank.
No
nothing.
No
cool,
color.
man.
My point exactly.
The music's terrible now. Everything sucks.
Sorry, I popped off. 1994 marks the year the Richardson Towers went completely dark. From then on, the building was left to rot. Foundation crumbling, roofs caving in. This little snippet is wild. Pigeons took up residence in the upper floors, creating massive mounds of poop, causing the floors to give out under the sheer weight
of the poop?
Of the pigeon poop.
Oh my gosh. And nobody was in there like shooshing pigeons? They didn't have a security on deck to like...
I mean, I'm assuming that they
pigeons?
had... No, trespassing pigeons.
Like, I seen one up there. I seen it. I heard the flapping.
I couldn't even imagine, like, what does it smell like in there?
Oh my God, yeah. Like, just, they're that heavy. And then the floor
is falling in. The Richardson complex became a magnet for trespassers, urban explorers, copper thieves, and teenagers looking for a scare. April 2010, a fire was started on the second floor of the central building. The likely reason the fire didn't take out the entire structure was because the fact that asbestos was virtually fireproof. In 1964, a physician published a study citing the dangers of asbestos. The use of asbestos would cause severe cases of lung scarring, creating one of the most aggressive forms of cancer called mesothelioma. Alarms were raised all the way back in the late 1800s. So why did they still use it? Corporate cover-ups is the answer. Major asbestos manufacturing corporations actively suppressed medical data, paid off researchers, and hid health risk from the public and their own workers for decades to protect their profits. The study alarming the public was published in the exact year that the new Buffalo Psychiatric building was erected. The hazardous material was used during the construction. It was removed in waves. Much to the misunderstanding of the public, asbestos is still housed in many of these structures and many of these buildings.
Those bastards.
Yes.
Those bastards.
I think a lot of people probably believe like, oh, it's a thing of the past. They went forward and removed everything. It is still in many facilities.
I don't know how these places get away with shit like that. I mean, money makes people so cruel.
You can't just be like they knew my bad.
Yeah, they knew
my bad.
about
We'll come up with something else.
Yeah.
In 2004, New York State appropriated $100 million specifically intended to rescue and rehabilitate the historic campus. By 2006, the nonprofit Richardson Center Corporation was formed and the rehabilitation and preservation began. 2017, the doors opened again, this time to the public. Inside was Hotel Henry, an 88-room boutique hotel and conference center. Sounds like a happy ending, right? Yeah, the story isn't over. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Hotel Henry closed its doors for 2 years. But the story still isn't over. Douglas Development took over the lease and reopened the hotel in 2023 under a new name, the Richardson Hotel. But despite restoration, stories persist. Tunnels beneath the complex are said to carry disembodied voices and sudden temperature drops. Shadow figures are reported to be seen in the upper windows by guests driving by. Hotel guests do impromptu paranormal investigations and claim EVP recordings and unexplained encounters have happened. Hotel officials have attempted to silence and erase any mention of the paranormal within its hallways. Like many institutions of its kind, history refuses to stay silent.
Why would you want that? Don't you need the money to like help restore this place? If you marketed it the way that people want you to market it,
yeah,
you would be loaded. You could have ghost hunters there. You could have all these amazing
I can
like
see
paranormal.
what they're trying to do, and I can appreciate it and understand it. They want to just like love the architecture and the history of it, but not so much.
Not to where you're trying to silence
like negative things.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say they're necessarily trying to silence, but if you like, you can't like do a ghost tour. If you're like walking the hallways doing spooky things, I think they're probably going to be like, hey, could you just like, if you're going to do it, just go in your room, because they want like a high end kind of like classy experience. Well, and I can appreciate and understand that. But
I get
there's
it.
lots of us that want that experience.
I get it, but like, don't buy a building and not like this building specifically
yeah.
and not think that that's a part of its history. That even ghost hunting or like catching those things, that is another way to pay like homage to the people that used to live there, because you're trying to contact
and talk
and
to
get
them
through to them. And I don't know. I think that they should be helping that, not hurting that.
But I have heard that you can contact and do a tour of the abandoned facility.
Okay.
Not specifically to ghost hunt, but you can
still
tour the
it.
abandoned. Yeah.
Well, at least they let you do that. I mean, I don't know. It's their building, it's their choice, and I understand that. But that's not what the people want. It's not.
You're like, bitch, I'm the people, and
I'm the people. I'm not the only people. Okay,
I'm
know.
the only other person.
Then they're just like, nah, you guys can't ghost hunt in here. We're like, dude, we seen like a guy in the window and I want to go talk to him. What's the problem?
I want to go talk to him. I was watching like YouTube as I do. And I was watching these people and having their little impromptu ghost hunting sessions inside their hotel rooms. And they were straight up catching evidence on like spirit boxes that like made sense and were cohesive.
See?
Investigator. Yes, you are correct.
Elsie.
Elsie. Oh my god, we're getting so many names.
No questions.
No question.
Jen.
What? Say that again.
And you have to think, like, do you want to stay in a hotel room? I mean, if you're not interested in the spooky spook, do you want to stay in a hotel room that once housed a person who was strapped to a bed and emotionally and mentally tormented?
You know what you're getting into when you stay there. You know what it was.
Maybe some people don't.
Why wouldn't they?
Like out-of-towners?
I don't.
They see this high-end building and they're like, oh, it's very posh. I want to stay there. They don't know the history of it.
They do, though.
Until
they have
they
the
walk
history
through the doors.
plastered all over the place.
Until they walk through the doors.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like if you're staying there, you know what you're getting into. I mean, 98% of the people know what they're getting into. You know where you are. They have the history all over the building. They have the people that used to be there. They have their personal photos of their personal belongings. And I mean, they encourage you to go look at all that stuff. But not to talk to them. I
just wonder if it's like a person who was like, oh, I have this medical conference in Buffalo. I'm going to go check
too expensive to
and be like, well, they're posh, they got money, they medical.
Let's go to Statler then.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go stay at this new one. It's got great reviews. I don't know anything about it, but it's got great reviews and they have a great breakfast. I'm gonna stay there. Then they walk in the door and they see what this facility used to be. Are they running out? Like, I don't know.
It's too beautiful. They did such an amazing job.
I agree. They did
such a good job. And I mean, we walked through the facility as just like passerbys.
Walk in there.
And we weren't in trouble. You didn't get in trouble for going in there. They didn't say, what are you doing? And I've had that. We stayed at the Stanley Hotel out in Colorado, and we couldn't, they were like, you can't just be in here. Like, you had to be staying in the hotel or being on a tour. I walked into the lobby, and there's a sign right on the stairs that's like, do not go up these stairs if you're not a guest. And I went up to the stairs and got yelled at. They were like, you can't be over here if you're not staying at the hotel.
Oh, yeah, because they need their nickel from you.
Yeah, they encourage that heavily. They have a specific The Shining tour to take you to every spot in the hotel.
And how much is it?
It's not expensive. Maybe $20. I don't even know. Yeah, no, it wasn't bad at all.
I would pay that.
And then they have a separate historical tour that you don't have any of the ghosty stuff and just you go to explore all the different buildings. But I think they should do something like that where they do have this for this type of person and this for this type of person. And
maybe
especially
they will eventually.
Insane history about the building is that's a huge part of it is just the paranormal and those types of things that go along with it.
Freaking horror video games are homaging this building.
How do you not
deeply rooted in our
play
community?
into that? Exactly. I don't get that.
But Buffalo was not alone in this history. There are more institutions like it scattered across the country. Some even more isolated. Some even more forgotten. And that brings us to our next location. Approximately 40 miles south of Buffalo to Perrysburg, New York, the J.N. Adam Memorial Hospital was established in 1912 by James Noble Adam, a wealthy department store owner and the 45th mayor of Buffalo. At the end of his term in 1909, Adam purchased nearly 300 acres of land in the small rural town of Perrysburg. At the time, tuberculosis was one of the most devastating public health crises in the United States. Western New York was no exception. Tuberculosis, commonly called TB, was a bacterial infection spread through coughing, speaking, and sneezing. It primarily attacked the lungs, though it could spread throughout the entire body. It became known as the White Plague. because the pale, weakened appearance of the patients as the disease consumed them from within. Before the mid-1940s, there was no cure. Active tuberculosis was often a death sentence. Some super famous people have had tuberculosis.
Really?
Eleanor Roosevelt being one, Roy Disney, Walt Disney's brother, and George Orwell, who actually died from tuberculosis. So, yeah.
Wow. Sounds like a terrible disease I would never want to catch.
Well,
now that we have vaccines.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean,
we're lucky, but.
Yeah. With no antibiotics available, treatment was based on what was known as the Swiss sun cure. The idea was simple, almost hopeful in theory. Fresh air, sunlight, and rest. That was it. So Perrysburg, with its rural isolation and wide open land, was considered the ideal location for a sanitarium. In October 1910, ground was broken. Like many institutions of the era, the hospital was designed with a central administrative hub. This included administration offices, a modern kitchen, and a large dining hall. That dining hall carried strange historical weight. Its structure reportedly incorporated the dome from the Temple of Music, the very place that President William McKinley was assassinated during the Pan American Exposition. This was a thing I was super excited to tell you about because I'm like a fangirl for this Buffalo portion of history. And when you told me you already knew, my heart shattered into a million pieces.
I'm so sorry. How cool is that, though? I'm so glad that they were able to like reuse the dome and not just either destroy it or put it somewhere where it's never going to be used again. But unfortunately, it's put on this place. But I don't know. I feel like I heard that it was being reused for something else. I don't know. Maybe
it's still there.
No, I know. But I thought there wasn't talks of it because I know there's someone they're talking about not fixing the facility up, but they're doing something with it. Something is currently in motion.
Based on my research, I have not come across a single thing that said that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah,
there was like an article that I read.
Definitely send it. The Temple of Music, I am extremely distraught that this building no longer exists.
Yeah.
Like, why demolish it?
Why?
It was beautiful.
They built all these buildings for the Pan American Exposition, and then they were just like
specifically held like extreme historic value.
Yeah, but at least they reused
a portion of it was used.
The dome. Yeah.
Yes. Well, branching out from the central hub were two patient wings, one for men and the other for women. Each wing included massive open air verandas where patients were wheeled outside for fresh air treatment. They were made to sleep outside on these porches in sub-zero Western New York temperatures, bundled in heavy blankets while fighting terminal respiratory failure. When it first opened, the facility held 140 beds. That number did not last long. Tuberculosis cases continued to rise, and the hospital expanded repeatedly to accommodate incoming patients. Some additional structures added were power and water plants, staff housing, including cottages and brick apartments, and the hardest thing to think of, a children's building. This building served as not only a hospital for these children, but as a type of boarding school. There were many classrooms and play areas. It was built with the same medical philosophy of the time, but applied to children who were often separated from their families for years.
So wait, were these children, they didn't have tuberculosis, but their parents did? Or did they
Their children had TB.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if they were like, I can't be around my parents, so I have to do this.
No, the illness also affected children, and I'm assuming the elderly and whatever, like immunocompromised people.
Yeah.
But it sounds extremely counterintuitive to be like, oh, you're like sick? Let's throw you outside in the winter.
In the freezing cold, and you can't breathe. Guinea pigs, I'm telling you. They just try shit and hope for the best.
Sound wrong? Like, even to anybody with a logical brain? Spring, summer, autumn, absolutely. I think it's very sad with the children, though. You don't think about things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you do. I mean, there's like children's hospitals, and you're faced with these facts daily that like mortality happens to children as well.
Yeah.
I don't like hearing it.
I know, yeah.
By the time the expansion was complete, the facility held around 420 beds. And then everything changed. In 1943, scientists discovered streptomycin, the first effective antibiotic against tuberculosis. By the 1950s, TB could often be treated at home in a matter of months. sanatoriums like J&N Adams were suddenly obsolete. Patients were slowly discharged or transferred elsewhere, and by June 1960, the facility closed. It's really hard to wrap my mind around the fact that antibiotics is a relatively recent discovery. Like, if you look at the grandeur of human
only
history,
70 years old-ish.
like the fact that that's like a monumental change in how we fundamentally
antibiotics
live our lives.
fix everything.
Yeah.
I mean, not everything, but most of these
I would argue
ridiculous
that they're
diseases
overused a little too often, but definitely served its purpose.
Yeah, and it cured a lot of these types of issues, and we don't so that we don't have them anymore, which is people are very generally more healthy than back then. And I would say antibiotics has a huge part of it, for sure, in that. But
I mean, just curing something like TB that was killing millions of people.
Yeah, it's a white plague. But
yeah, that's wild.
what I'm bothered by is how quickly it closed. It's
what other,
I don't know, just a hospital.
Well, she goes through many different.
Oh, okay. All right.
She goes through many different names here. That closure was not the end. It was only the first chapter. Within weeks, the property transferred to the Department of Mental Hygiene. The buildings reopened, this time for a completely different population. Patients with psychiatric and developmental disabilities were moved in due to statewide overcrowding, and J&N Adams became a part of a new system. Over the next decade, the facility underwent multiple identity changes. It went from J.N. Adams State School Division of Gowanda State Hospital, a freaking mouthful.
Yeah, it is.
And then it became J.N. Adams Division of the West Seneca State School. You see state school, and immediately it conjures up thoughts of teachers, hallways, and backpacks. But at the time, the term was used for institutions dedicated to housing, treating, and providing basic life skill training for individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities. The West Seneca connection is important. A larger campus had been planned in West Seneca, but construction could not keep up with the demand, so patients were relocated to Perrysburg temporarily. That temporary solution became long-term and eventually permanent. By 1972, J.N. Adams became independent again. It was renamed the J.N. Adams Developmental Center. It's strange to think that West Seneca had any connection to Perrysburg.
Yeah, it's so far away. So far away.
The facility operated for another 23 years. It closed permanently in 1995. Over its lifespan, it is estimated that approximately 3,500 people died within its walls. And like many institutions of the time, not all those deaths were handled with transparency. Some unclaimed patients were buried in the nearby Jollis Cemetery. Others were transferred through underground tunnel systems to the facility morgue. What is with these buildings and their underground tunnels?
Yeah, but there had to be for the morgues. I would say specifically it was for the morgues. Yeah. Because how else are they gonna, and they're not gonna want to show patients dead people. No, they can't they gotta hide as many people as probably were dying. They had to have a whole separate area for the sheer population amount of people that were passing away. So.
I get it. I just somebody had to have been yo, this place is creepy as fuck. Can we not build these? I don't know.
No, I know. We actually, was it yesterday or maybe 2 days ago? It was yesterday. We drove to J.N. Adams.
What?
Just to see. And
did you take pictures?
No, but there's an entrance that we went through that I never saw before that you can drive up. The gate was, I shouldn't even say this, but the gate was wide open.
I'm very mad at you for not taking photographs and knowing we were doing this.
Well, you can't see anything and we couldn't go up to it. So you could see some stuff through the woods. I don't know. You can't really see anything. It was pure, we can go.
Yeah, I want to go.
But you can't really see anything. I wanted to go through there because I want to see this grandiose entrance. I've seen videos of people urban exploring it.
Yeah.
And there's this huge front entrance with stairs to get up it, and it looks so beautiful. And I was like, I want to see the front entrance. I don't want to see these maintenance crack ass buildings on the side. I don't want to see that. I want to see this beautiful decrepit, abandoned place.
Yeah.
And we went around this road that I had never been before. I didn't even know that you could get to it from that. So it's coming around the other side now.
I've never been, and you went without me.
That was a long time ago.
I'm very upset with you still. I'm very upset.
They very heavily police that, and you will get in a lot of trouble.
Yes.
Even when we went, someone did come, and there was you could see a flashlight outside the window we were at and everything. We had to hide. So they are always, the police are always on their guard.
And I heard that they will 100% give you a trespassing charge.
100%. Yes. Yep. So don't go there.
Don't. On paper, it appears as a system of care, but like many state-run institutions of the era, reality was more complicated. Underfunding, overcrowding, neglect, in some cases, abuse. One case in particular brought attention beyond the facility itself. Romano versus Knudsen. A patient was discovered with adhesive tape residue wrapped around their face, head, and neck. Employee Michael Romano was identified and immediately terminated. He later sued the state officials, arguing his termination violated his constitutional rights because his employment was protected property under the 14th Amendment. State officials countered that emergency removal procedures were necessary to protect patients. The ruling ultimately supported patient safety, affirming that staff accused of severe abuse could be immediately suspended without pay during investigation. It was a legal moment that reinforced one thing clearly: patient protection outweighed procedural delay. Somehow, this seems worse than the previously stated Richardson complex. Patients housed within the walls of JN were, for the most part, not psychiatric patients. They were cognitively disabled. They simply needed help doing day-to-day tasks. It seems like this specific case is a super rare occasion where they actually got justice for
Thank God, though.
the abuse that occurred.
It's just horrendous. I could never, physically ever do that to somebody, especially somebody with developmental disabilities.
They were disabled. They were not
what is wrong with people? Do not be in this job if you are that mentally unstable.
Especially, there could be. Like I said again, I'm not justifying the treatment of anybody being treated poorly, but you can understand the mental cracks that could happen within a human psyche. But
I would leave before I would ever do that. I would walk out.
Cognitively disabled people. These are not. They're not psychiatric patients.
Yeah.
These are people with handicaps. How can you do that?
How can you do that?
I feel like do that?
I'm so glad though that he was held accountable because I'm sure there were several instances where they were not. So,
but this is my problem and my gripe with it. He was only let go from his position. He wasn't
arrested or anything.
No. Yeah. And they weren't arguing oh, you should just be fired. They weren't trying to get him arrested for it. They were just saying, no, we rightly fired you.
Yeah, which that's so. Now we press criminal charges.
Yeah, I definitely think they should have taken it a step further because.
Well, I don't know
if he doesn't go and get employment elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely, and you should be put on a blacklist for starters. We can't really prosecute you for the act that you did, but we did rightly fire you, and that's what this is about. I don't know.
I think it's a shame. The same thing with psychiatric patients. They're just these people deserve to live lives.
They do, with people that care about them, not people that just want to hush them up or shove them away.
Well, the shift is coming because by the 1980s and the 1990s, a nationwide shift was underway. Deinstitutionalization was changing how care was delivered. The focus moved towards placing patients into smaller group homes, giving them community-based care and eventually family reintegration with outpatient support systems. Again, leaving JN Adam an obsolete facility. In 1995, the institution closed permanently. I guess that is the silver lining, that we were going for a different type of treatment. You know, they were like, oh, we can work with you so much better on like a smaller scale and
outpatient, and you're more comfortable and we're more comfortable, and we don't have to be in each other's throats all day long, staring each other down, and like you trying to give me pills and me trying to get the heck out of here, and like this just terrible dynamic, especially once you're in those places.
Too many. Like there's too many people.
Yeah.
It definitely needed to be on a smaller scale.
But now I know there is I believe it's a clad-off facility right next to it.
Yes, that's actually in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only structure, and it's actually on the property. So that's within the property line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's to this day being used as like a smaller scale group home for developmentally disabled individuals.
Yeah.
My thing is like, why were we doing this in the first place?
What, with these large scale institutions?
Yeah.
Probably because of
it's like the disappointments room.
If you want to break it down, I think that the smaller scale ones, they didn't think were large enough because there wasn't
too many.
Yes.
Well, I think that they were over diagnosing and saying like, because your eye twitched when you sneeze, there's something wrong with you.
But this opened in the 50s.
Yeah.
So this 40 years of development, finally realizing that the smaller scale, exactly what Kirkbride tried to do in a smaller setting, but that's exactly what he tried to do. I mean, maybe not with the error and all that stuff.
So why can't we just do
the
more?
Smaller scale, the more individualized care? It eventually circled all the way back around to that
for developmentally disabled individuals.
Well, yeah, but I mean
there's still mass institutionalizing the mentally ill. I think maybe it's not at the level that it was.
Well, maybe they should open these facilities for mentally ill people exactly how they do for developmentally disabled people.
I think the state always gets involved and ruins everything.
Yeah. What do you think if it was like privately owned?
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's the problem.
Price would be astronomical, and the health insurance wouldn't allow it, and then
I think it would be a money grab, just like prisons that are privately owned as well. And they're not as regulated because of it. And
shouldn't somebody with a fucking heart be involved here?
You'd think.
A single person.
The only person that probably would do it would be Elon Musk.
Though the facility has closed, the building did not disappear. It remained. And without maintenance, the structure began to decay. Today, if you venture to the property, you will find caved-in roofs, flooring collapsing, interior saturated with asbestos and black mold. Because of a long legal battle between the state and the city, the property was never fully repurposed or secured. It was simply left. Like many abandoned institutions, horrific stories of the paranormal persist. Mainly within the children's wing, visitors report hearing disembodied laughter, the sound of children running through the hallways, and unexplained crying. Some claim that toys left in rooms will later appear in different locations entirely. Others report shadow figures in the upper windows. And this one, the most unsettling account I have heard. The ceiling crawler. A reported entity described as a large contorted black mass that crouches on windowsills before moving rapidly across the ceiling, avoiding flashlight beams entirely.
Bro.
When I read this, it was like 1 a.m.
Stop.
And I got fucking spooked.
You're like looking around your house like,
oh my God, yeah. And I'm like walking down my hallway, and it's like that long, narrow hallway. And I'm just like, oh my God. No.
You know what that reminds me of is that I worked at this haunted house years ago, and there was
a guy on the bungee.
Yeah. Well, there was a guy on a bungee that would come out, but there was one on the ceiling that would slide across the ceiling. Oh, that fucking freak. That one gets everybody because you don't look up. No one ever looks up.
That would be coming.
No one ever looks up. That's why they do it. That's why that fucker crawls on the ceiling, because he wants to scare you.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and he goes through the beams of light.
What was that? And you don't see it. You literally just see like the shadow skittering off the ceiling. No.
Who's saying this? Are these urban explorers? Like people that have broken into this place?
A lot of it is just like Reddit forums. People talking about their experiences.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Reddit is a hotbed of information.
Yeah,
man.
I know.
Stay on Reddit.
I love Reddit. No, but I just like I believe people because they're anonymous. Like, what do they have to hide?
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, like I said, if I seen that, I would believe in the paranormal, and I would shit my pants, and I would question my whole life existence.
Well, I can say, as far as the building itself, it is very, very decrepit.
Yes.
We went in the basement, and it was extremely unsafe. You should never. Just the building itself, you could literally walk and fall through the floor. Like, it's super decrepit.
Yeah, I watched videos of this man who chronically goes there. Like, he goes there often and like paranormal researches.
By himself?
By himself.
Oh, honey, no.
He's crazy.
Oh, honey, no.
But-
Let's go look around outside this scary fucking place.
If I did go, I'm just gonna stand like in one space that feels secure and not walk anywhere else because my fat ass will fall through the floor.
From what I remember, where we went actually under the dome. And under the dome was, I would call it just like a sitting area.
Yeah, it was the cafeteria.
Yeah. There was still some chairs out and stuff like that. So you could tell that that's what it was an open, beautiful, like you want to sit down and eat your
I bet you
food
could
there.
see that being like really beautiful and really like healing.
So there are some places that you'd feel safe probably. And that would, to me, would be one of them. Like I felt comfortable there, you know?
Yeah, it's also on the first floor.
Yes, yeah. And then you get into these creepy places and you're walking in the bathrooms. And the bathrooms, for me personally, are probably what freak me out the most. I don't know why, but I always feel like someone's going to look at me through a stall or some weird shit.
Ooh,
so like the bathrooms, every time I go into a haunted bathroom or even like a truck stop bathroom.
Oh my
creepy,
God.
I always think of like Michael Myers, like feet. I'm gonna see feet and like he's ready to rip, you know? That scares the shit out of me.
That's funny because Michael Myers did attacks in the bathroom throughout like
all
3 different movies.
He does too. Like truck stop bathrooms. Like I'm just gonna fuck this person up. But no, that's what when I go into creepy bathrooms. Like I always think I'm gonna see feet or like a face peeking around.
Dude, I totally get that though. Bathrooms can be very
weird.
unsettling.
They're so eerie. Oh, yeah.
They give like that, especially when nobody's in them, they give like that liminal space feel, like an area where
there should be people, but there's not, and it's
liminal
like you
spaces
just
is very strange.
Yeah, like you like have the like notion that someone may come in because it's a bathroom,
and it's also a space that you're very vulnerable in.
Yes, it's so weird, dude. That's such I never thought about that like that, but it's true. That's why I probably do, because I'm like,
this is why women congregate together in the bathroom.
Yeah,
we safety in numbers.
I don't like that.
In packs.
Yeah, exactly.
When you went, did you go to the children's like ward?
We didn't go super far into it because it was so decrepit. Like we went to a couple of places. We went downstairs, if anything, into the basement area, and it was so bad we couldn't even like walk through there. Like I don't even think all of us went down because it was so like decrepit.
Was it just the stairs that were like falling apart? Because you think like the basement ceiling, and you're like, oh, I guess ceiling.
The ceiling was completely falling in. Like the there was cement like just like crumbled everywhere. Like it was decrepit.
Were you guys just there for like the cheap thrills, or did you do any type of like paranormal investigating and pull out the spirit box?
They might have. I did not. I was just trying to hide behind people. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, I'm gonna go behind you and hide behind the corner. I don't know. I did not. I was just kind of ditzing along, but they might have been. I don't really. It was a while ago. It's probably. I think it was around like my 21st birthday.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, over 10 years ago.
See, we're not kids anymore. We don't do that stuff anymore.
I do remember that we had a fun time.
I was wondering if you did go to the children's ward, because I'm like, I want to play with the baby goats.
No, I don't. And honestly, we didn't know the layout of it anyways. We just went to go. But if I knew the layout and we had a like plan, like let's go to the children's ward, like that would have been cool. And we could have done some sort of ghost hunting that way. But we didn't know.
Well, if y'all have stories of the Perrysburg Asylum, please submit them, because I am dying to read them and talk about them, because I am fascinated with this facility. I've never been there. Leah went without me, and I'm still pissed at her.
Yeah, I want to know everybody's stories too, because I mean, I had my own, but nothing too eerie, just obviously urban exploring the place. But if you have any like creepy ghost stories or anything, please let us know. There's a link in our bio to submit a form for your spooky stories. Even if it's not Perrysburg, we still want to know about your spooky stories. So please send them in for us.
Yeah, submit that shit. Places like this exist all over the world. Different names, different towns, but the same pattern repeats. Hope, overcrowding, collapse, and then abandonment. And while we like to think these systems belong to history, the truth is more complicated than that. Because the way we treat mental health today is still evolving, still under pressure, still struggling to keep up. And that raises the question, how much has really changed? And that's all I have for today.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. That was today's episode. That is the last part in our local lore series. So next week, we will be doing something totally different. Please, again, just the emphasis on submitting your stories. Please submit your small business features. We would love to do a small business feature every single episode. So go to the link in our bio. Please submit the form. If you have any questions, feel free to message us on social media. We always answer everybody. We'll always get back to you. So thank you again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Later.